Welcome back to another week of Corporate Underground. This week we've got Adam Kramer, a good friend of ours from, a long way, first from South Africa, then New York, and now in Australia. Here is a man who was on the last plane out of New York when he could still leave to arrive to the safe destination of lockdown Australia. So, Adam, welcome. And how are you finding lockdown? You escaped New York to come here to the freedom and the open plains of Australia. How is it going and how is it happening at the moment? Are you all good mentally? How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I made it onto Corporate Underground, so I think I'm doing something right. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm super stoked to be here. And Australia's a great country, so I'm, excited that I'm here. I made a big decision to leave the mighty US of A and New York City, my true love in my heart, but I'm here. And my kids are thriving, which is a good thing. And it's, it's like, it's a teaser. Lockdown is a teaser. The goodness that's to come. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. So it better bloody be good. So.
You don't really know how horrible it is yet, do you? We could be a horrible place to live. You wouldn't know yet because they've been locked up the whole time.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's been fun. It's been fun. Let me tell you, it's been fun. It's been challenging, so it's good.
So, Adam, you've arrived in Australia, and you came to Melbourne, which was voted the number one city in the world, a place to live, and because of our beautiful cafes, our music, the only thing we don't have is the weather, and now you're stuck with the weather. New York is now in summer. You've got all these people going through. How are your kids handling the lockdown, and how are you handling your kids in the lockdown?
Well, the kids they're struggling a little. I think all kids are. My oldest is loving it. He thinks it's pure holiday, and there's not much I can do about that. He's almost my size, so when he tells me no chance that's happening, it's like either I work or we go to war. So he's loving it. He's enjoying it. My youngest is an angel. He's thriving. He's doing well. He's a little frustrated because he's super sporty, so he can't really get out and play all those sports and do all those things. But all in all, I think we're coping as much as everybody else, you could be in this situation. But it's all about the perspective. I actually think the weather's pretty good in Melbourne.
Well, it is inside.
Because you don't know. Yeah, you can't go outside.
Listen, it gets mighty cold in New York, and even though I love my snowboarding, and every time I can, escape and get out there, I do. But it's wicked cold, So far,
Adam,
I'm
you might be.
Yes,
Adam, you might be just old enough to remember the 80s film Escape from New York with Snake Plissken, which was Kurt Russell. Tony's too young for any of that. So that was a famous movie about kind of trying to get out of New York. Do you remember the film?
I wasn't running or escaping New York.
Well, you and I met on LinkedIn even before you came to Melbourne. So we kind of knew each other through LinkedIn a little bit.
Yeah.
And interacting with each other because you're LinkedIn famous. I can say that you get some good response to your posts and you're consistent on there. You create value. How does it compare kind of having this LinkedIn, I suppose, family, we often call it, so people that you kind of know quite well on LinkedIn, to finally getting to meet some people here in Melbourne in person and being plugged into a network of people that can, because it's a challenge, not only moving to the other side of the world, but also trying to find a new network of people that know, like, and trust you.
It's a huge challenge, and it's like, so when I moved, it was pre-COVID. It was like a week pre, so it was, I didn't, it was something still in China. I came on March 1st, but I left New York. No one was really saying anything. I came to Australia. No one really said anything. And a week later was, oh fuck, there's a major problem. And I think lockdown was like the 15th. So when I initially came, I was like, okay, I came because for a couple of reasons. My ex-wife's from here and my one son wasn't well, and it would be better for her to have more support and family around to help a little bit, which didn't pan out exactly the way I was. So I came for my kids, and thank God they're doing amazing. So I have no regrets or anything about that. But I came with basically no plan, no job. I was going to focus on my kids, and that was going to be my priority. And I am a networker, and I like building relationships, and I have had a tremendous amount of success and gotten so many opportunities from LinkedIn. So I'm a huge advocate. And one of the things that I do is I go as much as I can and try and make like real connections with those people. So I'll reach out, I'll Zoom, I'll call them, I'll meet them, especially in New York. I did it even more so than here because I've been able to do it. So that was a big part of my life. And when I moved, I was like, well, I need a network. That's what I do. I'll make my own events. I'll create them. South African events, New York events, expat events, healthcare events, whatever it is, LinkedIn events. I'll just go bananas. And then that went downhill very quickly. And I was, oh fuck, what am I now? This is going to be interesting. And I'll just share like an incredible story though, which again, my focus was pure family, kids. It's a massive move. Anytime I think moving across the world is a big deal. So, but I had met someone briefly from Australia that I'd met a bunch of people, but this particular person asked me for like some advice on a similar platform that he was trying to do in Australia compared to what we were doing in New York. And this was 2 months before I left, and I kind of knew I was probably coming. And we spoke a little bit. And then when I came, I reached out again and said, by the way, I'm in Melbourne. Let's get together. We actually planned a coffee, and that never happened. It was a Zoom, but we landed up chatting and going more in depth. And, just hearing, my story and talking to me, it's like, you need to meet this guy. You need to meet Stan. And I was like, okay, great. And I met Stan, and I hit it off with Stan, and everything went well. And that's where I'm now. That's how I landed up at Genetic Technologies, is through this guy, through LinkedIn, through Stan. So when you go that extra step to, build a real relationship and get to know somebody, forget about business or money or whatever it is. Just, when you want to just meet someone to be who they are, you never know what can come out of it. So that's my little LinkedIn story on the beginning of my journey in Australia.
It's funny though, isn't it? I mean, like, we have these points where we have 20,000 LinkedIn followers or 100,000 LinkedIn followers, and yet how many people do we actually know? And then how many people would actually reach out and help us when we need it? I mean, they're there and they're all amongst us, but we've had to go a lot more old school. And when it comes down to these relationships, because a lot of those structured things have been taken away. So what's one of those things that you do now that has changed your world compared to what you've had to be able to do? I mean, you've got your kids, you've got you're looking after them, you're in a new role. What's keeping you sane?
Well, what's keeping me sane probably is over the last, I've done a lot of self-work, self-care, and like sticking to my routine. I've also challenged myself a lot.
Are we sure he's sane though? I mean, this assumption you're making that he is sane.
Ronan,
Yeah.
this comes from the guy that's got this haircut. So I'm going to say to you, it's all relative, right?
From a matter of.
Sorry, Adam, carry on.
Definitely not. I don't want to be known as sane. I'd rather not. Oh no, Ronan, you offended him. He's gone.
No, Tony kicked him out. Tony has the power.
Yeah, that's all I can handle. Sorry.
So, you know, I really I started meditating soon after I arrived. Double down on my exercise, double down on like my values, community. I realized this was going to be a massive challenge and just embraced it and did whatever I had to do. It's up and down on some days, you know, it's definitely a struggle I love community. I love people. I love getting to know people. I thrive at these things. I thrive at events and conferences and things. So it's definitely been a struggle. It's been, it's a struggle that I have no family here. I've literally came not for my family, but for my ex's family and my kids. So it's been that close support is not there, which is it's a challenge, but it's, you know, these are the choices that I've made, and I'm not going to go back on them. I don't regret them. I firmly believe that I am where I belong. You know, you are where you belong, and this is where I belong. And I'm not, you know, I love New York and I've got my friends there and it's fantastic, but I'm not running back. I don't regret it. I'm pushing forward, and like I said, this lockdown is just a teaser. You know, Australia is a great country, and this is definitely a lot of foreplay. But I can't wait for
the home run,
the final act.
Okay.
You say
when that red light is going to go off. So the red light district. So that's kind of what's pretty much kept me sane, is that just knowing that this is my choice, my decision, and I did it for my kids, and they're thriving, and that's the most important.
You touched on meditation, which is something all four of us here in Corporate Underground have done and believe in, and at different stages of that thing as well. But I admire that you decided to go inward a lot to enable you to cope in brand new country, lockdown, away from all of your support network and all of those things. And often the only thing we can control is what we can control. So I really admire, Adam, that you sort of recognized that and did that work so that you could remain as resilient as you can in what is, you know, for you a very challenging situation.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm I think you are, Ronan, as well, a big fan of Tim Ferriss, and out of all those hundreds of people that he's interviewed, that meditation just stands out amongst like 85-90% of them, that they all do it. And it was something that I've always wanted to do. And then recently, thanks to Matt, did you do it also, Tony?
I was going to say, did you do the Vedic one?
I did the Vedic.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's good. I'm enjoying it. I have to admit, I don't always do it twice a day.
Oh, naughty! You won't transcend, mate. You got to transcend, baby.
But it's definitely had an effect on me. It's the same thing like anything else. It's not going to be, it's not like, oh, you do it once and this godly light comes down and you're like, oh, I'm He-Man. No.
Yeah.
It's, I'm
already that good. Yeah.
Well, Tony, your wife did it with you. I mean, like, did you find a major difference for her and you, or was it? How did that go with the transcendental meditation?
My favorite thing is we've gone through a lot of turmoil last 3 weeks, and it is kind of like is this meditation causing issues? And it's like, no, it's just that my God would be in a much worse place if we didn't have it through that, because it can really help you deal with huge amounts of stress and anxiety and stuff like that. So I believe that we learnt this ability just in time to be able to go through a lot of crap. So it has certainly helped. I mean, I would have loved to say, that I was going through like a normal, just, normal crap to say, mate, I am feeling on fire. I did have a good week of feeling like I was like, wow, this is so lovely and everything's great and look how everything smells prettier, like that. I did have a week of that, and then my wife got injured and her anxiety spiked up because of that. But like, we're only a few weeks after that, actually making good steps, where I know from my experience and her experience that usually when you get a bad run of anxiety, it can last months and years if you really get a bad run. So I love it, and I think it's really, really beneficial.
That's fantastic, because everybody that's done it has said what an amazing experience they've had. Now, look, time to wrap it up. But Adam, I just want to put out there to anybody that's still listening or is listening at all, that if you've been complaining about COVID and being locked in, young Adam came to Australia with his ex-partner to support his children, and they were meant to get their own houses and set up. They arrived on lockdown and got locked in the same house with your ex-partner for how many months was it, Adam? 6, 9? Was it the trauma has wiped it from your memory?
9, 8, 9.
So 8, 9. So I have used you, not your name, but I mean, now you've got a face of anybody. I've always been speaking at anybody that was bitching to me about lockdown and all these things. I've said, I've got a mate who got locked down with his ex in a house how would that go? And everybody said, you win. So Adam, if I had a trophy or a medal to pin on your chest, it would be. So to all those people out there, if you haven't done meditation, if you haven't got connection, if you go out there and do something, because Adam is the poster child for what you have to go through during COVID. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it all up, and thank you very much, Adam, for turning up. And you are one of my heroes for coping with a stressful situation and looking through on it. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.